Hey folks, Ted here with Exped. Today I want to give you a little bit of a background on Exped Tent Footprints, the way that we use them and the way that they're commonly used out there to extend the life of a tent. Currently, manufacturers are out there, including ourselves, always trying to make our tents as light as possible so you can get out there and have as little weight on your back as possible, but still make the tent as durable so it doesn't fall apart on you. But increasingly, the way to make them lighter is to lighten up the fabrics to the point that they're so thin that you need to have some added durability, and the invention was a tent footprint. And tent footprint was used just to give you some added waterproofness in case your coatings weren't thick enough, or some added abrasion resistance. Now if you're an expedition user, footprints make a lot of sense because you're using them all the time and you really need that added durability. In our case, we don't lighten up the floors of our tents. The floors of our tents are really well built, heavy duty coatings on there so they last a long time. In fact, ours are probably twice the normal in the industry. That said, people ask for footprints because we've been so trained to ask for footprints for our floors. So we actually make one. And we make one for each one of our models. This happens to be the Ariga, but it works on all of our tents. Or we make a footprint specific for each one of our tents, excuse me. And in our case, we want to design a footprint that's exactly the same shape as the floor of the tent, less a couple of inches on either side. That way, when the rain hits your fly, runs down, it doesn't hit any material sticking outside. So all the rain runs away from your tent rather than puddling back up underneath. So all the footprints are just ever so slightly smaller than the actual footprint of the tent. The other thing that we'd like to do is that we also extend the footprint into the vestibule. And I'll show you one that I've got underneath this tent right here. You can see I pick up the floor of the tent. I'll just pull this one that's been deployed. I'll also show you how Exped does this. Here we've got a footprint that I've pulled out from one side of the tent to the other side of the tent. Comes out underneath. It's fully coated. When you're using these, we always recommend using the coating side up. Coating side up means that this face of the fabric right here without the coating takes all the abrasion and wear and tear, and the waterproof side stays away from the rocks and the dirt and the grime. So we really recommend coated side up. Now when you want to actually deploy this, on most Exped tents, wherever there's a juncture for a stake, either at the end by the poles or at the vestibule, there's also a little loop on the back side. And I'll flip this over so you can see. Here's a little loop right here. That's so that we can go ahead and take the elastic, the buttonhole elastic that's at the foot of the footprint, and go ahead and just take it and thread it through. Now, this allows me to put it on wherever I want to. If it's not the right amount of tension just right here, then I can go ahead and just pull it up tight and then just stick it through the buttonholes. You can see right here, just stick it through. And you're locked on, just like that. And that gives you the right amount of tension. If I didn't have a little loop like that, I could obviously always take this elastic and wrap it right around the stake that's down here. That's easy enough to do if I needed to do that. The slightly oversized nature of these also allows you to use them as an emergency tarp if you had to. Obviously, it's a big sheet. All the seams are taped. It's waterproof. It's going to give you a lot of extra durability. And if you're into long-term usage of your tent, the footprint will definitely add some life to it. In our case, most of the time we don't use them just because the floors are already built robust enough, but it's a nice way to extend the life of your tent.